Boys and girls, we made it out of my bedroom and into iGEM's test lab. This is the machine we use for testing every feature that we make here at iGEMS. And in today's video, we're gonna cut something, or at least we're gonna do some piercings, because that's what this video is all about, piercings and leads. In iGEMS, we can make it complicated by designing our own piercings and leads, but there's also an automatic function that is used by a lot of people and it works great. So let's jump into the machine, or I'm not gonna jump into the machine, but oh, you get it. So I think a good start is to make some piercings. We're gonna cut in this 25mm aluminum sheet, and I'm just gonna make some piercings right here to display to you what they look like. Before we start the machine, I just wanted to show you the part that we're gonna cut, and it's just 4 regular holes with 4 different piercing on them. And the first one is a blind lead, and the blind lead is used when we cannot fit another type of lead. So maybe it's a tiny hole, and it works like this. The machine goes here and it makes a movement towards the toolpath, and when it hits the toolpath, the jet and the abrasive is turned on, and it travels all the way around, whoop, and comes here again, and then it will over travel. I think it's 12% of the thickness of the material. So that's this distance right here. The next lead, or the next piercing, is a circular piercing. So the machine will make a circular movement like this, and go in here and go around. And then we have a lead out here as well. Next piercing is a linear piercing. Start here, make a movement with abrasive and the jet on, and go around. So it's basically like a circular piercing but without the circular movement. And last but not least, we have a stationary piercing, which I recommend you use as little as possible because it takes a lot of time. You will see that in the video. The machine goes here, opens the jet and opens the abrasive, and it will stand here till the jet is through the material. Then it will make a movement. And the reason for this being a bad piercing, if you can use another type of piercing that is, it's because it will just stand here, and all the water, all the abrasive that is going into this hole has nowhere to go, as opposed to a linear piercing where it travels, so it can backlash and make a way for the abrasive and water to escape. So that's why it takes a lot of time. I hope that makes sense. But let's look in the machine and see what this looks like. Alright, so now you know what our piercings looks like. Let's go into the contour and apply these to different types of leads. So I click on contour that's located under our cam tab, and the first settings you will see is the automatic lead function. And this is a great feature. iGEMS is determining where to place the leads, or actually we're not deciding where to place the leads, but what types of lead we are putting on the material. And these changes for a lot of different materials and thicknesses. So with this automatic lead, there's one function, and that is if you want to have tabs. A tab is a little bridge, so it will not cut all the way through. It will leave a little bit of a bridge here so that your material doesn't drop into the tank. And that's a good thing when you're cutting small parts, because that's a real pain in the ass when you cut a lot of parts and half of them are falling into the tank. So I've prepared this little thing here. So let's say this is your machine table, and your machine tables, like the slots on your machine, are located horizontally. So your machine table looks like this. And if it does, let me just draw some lines so you understand. So let's say this is your machine table. Like that. All right, so this part is actually crossing two of the slots on your machine. So this will probably not fall into the tank. And this thing, it doesn't cross any of them, any of the supports in your tank. So if we cut all the way around here, this thing will drop into the tank, right? So let's head into our automatic lead again. And we've activated automatic lead. And we want to have an auto tab. So let's just look at these settings. So we can set our lead length, 15% of the material thickness. That will almost definitely be enough. So now we can also say add tab on a small X size. And we don't want to add a tab on a small X size. So this is the X size. This already has two supports, right? So we don't have to cover the X size. We have to cover the Y size. So add tab on small Y size. Let's say it's 50 millimeters between here. Then we might want to add a little bit more here, but let's just look at this. All right, and set multi. Select these, enter. So in this corner, you see that we have a lead. Starts here, and it goes here and around, and then goes back here. So this cuts all the way around. But this lead is starting here, and it's coming out here. So that leaves a little bit of a tab here. So it's the same part, but depending on the orientation of the part, we place our lead or our gap on the part. So this automatic lead is a great feature. I love to use it, but you can also set, I don't want to have any tab, or I want to have a tab on everything. And then it will have a tab with this value. So that's the automatic lead. Let's uncheck this and explain something about this. So this box right here is the settings for our external leads. So that's the outer geometry. This is the internal, so that will be our holes. Our corner, so if this is checked, it will always look for corners on internal and external geometries. So it will place a corner lead. So this will have a higher priority than those two. And we also have an alternative which has got the lowest priority. So let's say we have an internal here, but this lead is too big for this hole. So maybe we cut super tiny holes and our linear lead is too big. Then we can place an alternative lead. And this will of course be a blind lead or blind piercing because that doesn't take up any space. So that's the settings for these. We also have, if we click on multi, which is this, which means we select a part and it will place lead automatically on that part. You can sort, so different types of sorting, different types of placement, so both on the external and the internal. We can prefer corners, which I like to do. It will prefer to put them in the corner. And we also have add new and replace existing. So if I would select this and hit multi, it would add new and replace these things. So that will just redo the whole contour on this part. But you can also use only replace existing, only add new, or individual. So let's hit multi on this, enter, and that has placed my leads on this part. But you see, these leads are looking a little bit different because they have a radius on them, right? So let's go into contour and look at that, because we can click on either the pen here or on this preview image, and that takes you to the same direction on any of these buttons. So I click on that and we have an updated lead editing area here. So on our left side, that's our leads right here. These are my leads. And this is a preview of the lead. So let's look at, maybe we'll look at the linear, and we can change some, let's just change this to a negative overcut of 2 millimeters. So that will give you an idea. The toolpath is this dotted blue line. It goes here, and then goes around, and then comes back here. And this solid line is the outer area of the jet. So you will see that it will cut the part and it will probably fall in with a very big tab here, which is not super nice. So let's change it back to 0. That will take it from here, go whoop, and then come back here, and then go up here. So this is a nice preview where you see what actually happens. And you can change, maybe you want to look at what does it look like on a corner, or a small hole, or a large hole. You can also change the direction. So if you want to counterclockwise or clockwise. So for each of my leads, I can assign piercings. So my linear lead will of course have a linear piercing, but you can change, let's say we make a new one here, which is called aluminum 5mm outer. All right, so for my aluminum 5mm outer, I want to have a circular piercing, and I want to have a length of 4 millimeters, or actually I want a dynamic lead. So this will make the lead in length dynamic. So it's from 3 millimeters to 8 millimeters. maybe I don't want a radius on this, so I'll change that. And the angle should be maybe 30 degrees. So it will come in a low angle and continue this way. So I hope that gives you, yeah, and all these are for the lead out. I think you get those. So I hope this makes sense, this dialog box. These are our types of leads, and to those leads you can assign different types of piercings. And also you can use the overcut. So maybe I want to have a 3mm overcut. That will cut here, go all the way around the part, come back to this point, and then continue for 3mm. Oh, sorry. Continue for 3mm. So that's overcut. But you can set a negative overcut as well, and that will leave a gap of 3mm. But actually it will cut, as you see here. So it will fall down anyway. So let's just remove this. Oh, there's one more thing. We can, if you're a welder, you know that this, set 0, all right, set -1. Yeah, so if we would have this piercing, the material, so this green is the material, it would still have this little tab here, right? And that's a real pain in the ass if you want to weld this material to another, because then you will have like a tab here, and then the opposing side might also have a tab. You want them to be flush together. So you can set a dimple. And that means, let's change the overcut to 0 again. It will cut down into the material like this. So we will absolutely not have a dimple. And that might give you a couple of minutes away from the grinder. So that's that. Let's remove this. Cancel. Yeah, I guess that's it. You can use multi, as I said. Then you have to select a part. If you select single, you can put it wherever you want. So you can just click wherever you want, like this. And of course, you can right click and use the snap functions. You see it changes from here's an external and here's a corner. And there's also 2 more things I want to show you. Edit. If I click on this and on this part, we can edit this part. So here's the cut order, and that will highlight all of these. And you can put in a stop if you want to. You can change the direction or change the order of them. You can change the values of the lead, type of piercing. You can also sort them again if you want to. And the last thing is delete. So if you only want to delete the toolpath, you click on delete. You select the part or select the toolpaths and done or enter. That will remove them. So that's it, guys and girls, for toolpaths and lead. I hope you learned something new. Have a great day.